Minnesota's 5th congressional seat is currently held by progressive Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar, and several Republicans are now trying to unseat the Somali-born lawmaker. Standing head and shoulders above all of them, literally, is my next guest here on the broadcast today. Royce White is a former NBA player who's now trying to make a slam dunk in the world of politics. And Mr. White joins me from Minneapolis live today. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, so again, you had some time in the NBA, and now you're going to enter the world of politics, running there for that congressional seat in Minnesota. Talk about what brought you out to try to enter the world of politics.
Well, I come from within a globalist institution. The NBA is the watering hole for a global corporate community. Obviously, they have an attitude and spirit to sell us out to the CCP, and I experienced that firsthand, and I experienced the ramifications of that in an ecosystem like the NBA itself. And ultimately, this is my home. My family's been here for 5 generations, and our elites are running a scam on us, right? The corporatocracy, in conjunction with the political puppets that they support and back and put in office, and the administrative state have conspired to devalue the America's citizenship, the citizenship here in America. And as an American citizen, it offends me. It offends me, and I find it a dire and urgent situation.
You know, before I get into some of your platform issues, let me ask you, because you just talked about Minneapolis being your home there. And if folks think back to November, there was a huge effort there on the ballot to defund the police department there in Minneapolis. It went down in flames. Voters said, no, we want to keep our police department. Talk about your thoughts on that.
Well, I think we should refund the police. You know, I think we should refund and overhaul policing. And by and large, I think the police have been irresponsibly placed in between the free people and the establishment, the corporatocracy, and you know, the establishment that has erected here in our nation sees crime as this inherent or inevitable byproduct as they continue to take away the foundational values of America, which are, you know, Greco-Judeo-Christian values. So, you know, I'm very skeptical at just how bad the crime situation is here in Minneapolis or around this country, you know, whether or not it's a byproduct of people being inherently criminal or whether we've just had a failure of education and culture. And I think people understand that. I think that, you know, the call to defund the police comes from a very progressive, far left, extreme and illogical premise.
So during the commercial, you and I were talking here, and you were telling me more about a convention coming up this weekend where somebody's going to walk away with an endorsement from the Minnesota GOP there. But you were telling me that your campaign is seeing some great success and great support so far, and you're just kind of still in the early stages right now.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we're going to have a convention tomorrow morning to see where the delegates stand on the support and nomination for the Minnesota GOP. And an early straw poll shows me ahead in our 39th Senate district, and I'm very happy and humbled about that. However, you know, this 2022 election and the 2024 election is not only a referendum on Biden and his administration or Democrats or globalists or corporatism. It's a referendum on the American people, and it's also a referendum on the Republican Party. We have to decide what our foundational values are, what our core values are at every layer of every community in this nation.
You know, one of the things that strikes me about your campaign that I was impressed with, you penned a letter that you put on Twitter talking about family court issues. And I know that your campaign also centers around family values. Tell me more about that and the message you're giving to voters.
Well, I'm a Christian man, first and foremost, and my faith is in God and my fear is of God. And I think that the family court system in this country has been deeply influenced by radical feminist identity politics that presumes that men are nothing more than an economic vessel and that their spiritual and physical presence in the lives of their children is basically, you know, immaterial. And you know, I think our family court system has become the anti-family court system. And I've had my own struggles in family court. And here's the deal. Listen, I'm a Christian again. I do believe in what our Christian doctrines and scripture says about childbirth outside of wedlock. However, I do observe that anytime a child is born in this country or around the world, it's a direct act of God, and God's hand was directly involved. And somehow we've gotten to this place where we've justified the alienation of fathers from homes, as well as abortion, on the premise that sex and wedlock is an issue where we have a final and absolute judgment. And I reject it, and it insults me, and it insults my children who are healthy and they are loved.
Let me ask you also about obviously an opponent in this race, that being Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who is by all arguments very extreme left and represents a segment of that population there in Minnesota. Tell me about how your campaign is trying to kind of offset some of those people who have supported her in past elections.
I mean, she's in on it. She, AOC, the squad, and the progressive left, they're all in on it. And they've run a very, let's say, high-level linguistic and social scam that suggests that socialism, their idea of socialism or socialist populism, is anti-corporate. And it's not anti-corporate. When you seek or aim to merge the state and corporation at the global level, it's the highest form of corporatism, and everybody becomes a serf. And the only question that I am trying to pose to people who have traditionally voted Democrat in this district is, do they understand that their future is serfdom? And are they okay with that? Now, it may very well be that in my community, we've been so indoctrinated on codependence of the state and the corporation that they're okay with being served. But the question must be posed, and the ministry of truth must be brought into the belly of the beast for the better of the republic.
Okay. Mr. White, I wish I had more time for you in this interview right now, but we're running out of time. So tell our viewers real fast where they can learn more about you and your candidacy.
RoyceWhite.us, that's our campaign website. You can also follow me on Getter and Substack as well. I appreciate the time. Godspeed.
Well, Royce White, a 5th Congressional District candidate there in Minnesota. Sir, I appreciate your time. Best of luck to you, all right?
Thank you, sir.